The biggest lie that you're telling yourself and that other professionals are telling you on how to fix your marriage is that, hey, you just need to have better communication and intimacy. And as much as that better communication, intimacy does make a marriage better and are hugely important, none of that will happen unless you change. Just learning a new wrinkle of communication and reading a book on communication isn't going to change communication. Your spouse has to desire to have better communication with you, and you have to desire that about them. You have to become so different. Oftentimes people reach out to us and they say, hey man, how can I fix my intimacy and have more sex? And how can I have better communication? Do you have any books you recommend about this? And it's like, dude, you can't read a book about this and expect your marriage to be amazing. Your marriage didn't die down just because you forgot how to talk. Your marriage didn't die down because you forgot to have regular sex. Those things died down because they weren't desirable enough. I have friends in my life I don't talk to as much anymore. Why? Because they don't do it for me anymore, right? Like my conversations aren't great. And so I distance them from myself. You have people in that, like your life as well, like that, which is why you don't hang out with certain friends anymore. Why? Because you're not attracted to that relationship anymore. It's what's happening in your marriage. It's not that your wife is getting older and their hormones are going down and all that. No, you are not as attractive. And that has very little to do with physical. It's emotionally and habit-wise and all of that make people attractive. I get to have sex with a new wife every single month. My wife gets to have sex with the new husband every single month. That's not a different person. Technically it is, because I'm a better person and she becomes a better person and different in new ways. As she's leading herself well and growing spiritually, mentally, and physically, I notice new things about her, which then she has new things to share with me in communication. When I have those things, then I can share those things with her in communication. That becomes desirable. Right? Or if it's physically, I notice her body change. Or if it's spiritually, I see the way she's talking differently or serving people differently. I notice her habits, which then goes to me like, man, I just love this woman. She's growing so much. And then in our conversation, she's telling me about him. And I'm like, wow, I've never heard you talk this way. That's better communication, which then we become emotionally intimate, sharing things. Well, then what do you think that leads to? Physical intimacy. It's the same reason why when you first meet somebody, yes, you're physically attracted to them, but they say something either funny or deep and you're learning about them and all of that. It creates an emotional intimacy, which then leads to sex. It's not that your wife is getting old, like I'm saying. Is hormones a real thing as we get older? Absolutely. But that's personal choices that usually make those hormones go bad. Diet, drinking, not focusing on our spiritual life or our mental well-being and all that. Because if we're not focusing on our spiritual or our mental well-being, what do you think's happening? We're not handling stress as much. Our cortisol levels are up. Well, what do you think that does to our hormones? It lowers them. Then we don't sleep as good. If our diet's not on point, what do you think that does to our hormones? It lowers them. Then we don't sleep as good. If you're not physically fit, what do you think that does to your hormones? It lowers them. So when we lead ourselves well, good things happen. When we're disciplined, good things happen. If I see somebody that's disciplined, I want to do business with them. I want to do life with them. I want to get to know them. I want to learn from them because they're disciplined. It's the same thing with my spouse and the same thing with me. She sees that I'm disciplined. And so from across the way, she's just like, man, I cannot believe that this is my husband. It's mind-blowing that this is my husband. And guess what? I've been together with him for 24 years and he's different all the time. He just keeps getting better. Man, I love my husband. I can't believe this is mine. Then we look out in society and we see people getting worse. We think to ourselves, how grateful I am to have this be my spouse. There's less than 1% of people that are leading themselves well in this country. There's a reason why 65% of Americans are overweight, why 97% of Americans have some type of illness, whether physical or mental. Is because they don't lead themselves well and continue to grow. They think that when you get 40, you're over the hill and it goes down. No, there's people that are 35 living like they're 65, and there's 65-year-olds living like they're 35, and it's all 100% a choice. It's 100% a choice. Are there rare occasions you get hit by a bus and now you're paralyzed? Sure, but guess what? That's still leadership. That's why you can watch so many amazing people online. There's a guy, Nick, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name on Instagram. Dude's a savage, high-level motivational speaker. Guess what? Dude has no legs and no arms, but savage, changing lives. Do you think he leads himself well? Or do you think he sits back and says, woe me, that this is my case and I just can't lead myself well? No. He's getting after it. what do you think he has in his life? Abundance and amazing people, which fill up his heart with love. Do you think he has good conversations and communication because of that? Absolutely. It's mind-blowing to me when people think they can just open up a book and say, page 47 says, I need to ask the question this a little bit differently, and my communication in my marriage is going to be amazing. Let me see here, a chapter on intimacy. Let me see here. Looks like if we just have sex 2 times per week, we're going to do amazing. And so, honey, you really need to start having sex with me 2 times per week because I have my needs. You think that's going to make your marriage amazing? No. I don't want to have sex with my wife 2 times a week if she ain't into it. I want to have sex with her because she just wants to have sex with me. Just this week alone, it's Sunday today. We've already had sex 4 times this week. And we were already just joking around a little bit ago that like, hey, we're going to go for it again today. That's going to be 5 times this week. We've been together for 24 years. How are we having more sex now than ever? But we've always averaged 2 to 3 times a week over 24 years. But how does it get better? We have 2 kids, so we have kids. We run a business that takes an insane amount of energy, especially emotional energy from us, and doing that. We run multiple Bible studies. We homeschool our kids. We work out 6 to 7 times a week. We read books every single week. We're in the Bible all the time. We're doing all of these things. How do we have time to still have sex? Because we lead ourselves well. We expand our capacity. When you're disciplined, what happens? You expand your capacity. The same way if you regularly go to the gym and bench press, you're going to get stronger. If you regularly lead yourself well, you're going to get stronger in your capacity in all areas of your life. But so many people want to lean on moderation. I can drink every now and then. I can have ice cream every now and then. I can watch porn every now and then. I can hang out with crappy friends every now and then. I can watch sports every now and then. I can do all of this now and then. Well, guess what? Moderation adds up. It adds up. You only have so much time. I know I'm coming across like just passionate right now because I'm passionate about what I have in my life, and I'm so depressed and broken about how many people in this life don't do it. I'm tired of watching the homelessness in America rise out of control because we want to comfort people who don't want to go do anything hard. Guess where mental illness comes from? No purpose and meaning in life. That's a proven fact. It's not because we're born with a mental illness that we have it. It's because we don't have no purpose and meaning. Do you think people who are homeless have a purpose and meaning? Nah, dog, they don't. We got to have a meaning in life. That's the biggest thing. So do you think your wife's going to want to talk to you if you don't have a meaning and purpose and you're just killing it? No. That's the reason when you ask them about their day, they say fine, because they're not interested in telling you about it because you're probably not going to listen anyways. And if you do, they're not really interested in telling you. It's the same reason she's not attacking you and wanting to rip off your clothes and doing precarious positions for you because they're not interested in you. They're not. That's just the real thing. Every now and then they are. They love you. So for the sake of the kids and everything else, they'll still do life with you. But then they start foregoing all the other things in their life. You got so much more to offer them. Become that person. You have to become who you have to become for the marriage to become what it can become. So many times people want to read a book and they say, tell me about communication. I want to learn about communication. Well, it's just like this. I can't ask a person who runs ultra marathons, which are 100 milers, right? And just hit them up and be like, hey, dog, what shoes do I need to wear and shorts do I need to have to run an ultra marathon? They're going to be like, oh, that's sweet. You're running it. Here's the shoes and shorts you need to run in. Tell me about your training schedule. Oh, I haven't been training. I just signed up for one tomorrow. I'm going to go out and do it. They're going to laugh in your face. They're going to be like, well, you can't do it. It's the same thing in your marriage. You can't do it if you haven't been doing the work on you. You can't run an ultra marathon if you haven't trained. You can't have an amazing marriage if you haven't trained and became a better you. You can't. I can't just pull out a business book right now and just be like, hey, I'm going to read a business book and I'm going to create $1 billion business. No. How do you create a $1 billion business? By putting in the work consistently, disciplined every single day. And eventually you're going to crack the code and you can do it. Everybody can. Every single one of you can. It's the same thing in a marriage. You want $1 billion marriage by reading a book. Will that book add help to it? Sure. Now, if you already have like a 9.5 out of 10 marriage and you guys are having sex all over the place, your communication's better, and you're like, yo, I want to read another book because I'm just trying to soak up so much knowledge, then that's amazing. Do that. That's what those books are great for. But it's not for to fix your marriage just by reading a book on communication. You need a new technique. No. If you want to bring down the walls of intimacy, you have to become something that's just so amazing. You do. I look at my wife all the time and I think to myself, wow, she's gorgeous. Wow, I can't believe she just got out of the ice bath. Wow, I can't believe she's read a book today. She's been in the Bible. She's prayed. She's homeschooled our kids. She's led multiple clients. She's done all this. I'm like, wow. But then she also wants to get better. Then she wants to dive into deep conversations with me. And she was never this way. It's not like I married an alpha woman and this is just who her personality was. She was the most limited person I've ever met. And if she was on this, she would tell you the exact same thing. So limited. But guess what? She's not limited anymore. Why? Because I started leading myself well. I started challenging her. And because she saw the fruit in my life, she wanted that fruit. But she had to go to hell through hell to get it. So we went from having a pretty good marriage to having an amazing marriage. Guess what? Haven't argued in 10 years. Why? Because of those things. So many people are going to say, well, everybody argues in marriages, man. No, they don't. Crappy marriages, people argue. Good marriages, people argue. Great marriages, people don't. We're all supposed to live like Christ. Do you think Christ watched porn every now and then? Do you think Christ dropped F-bombs and freaking got smashed and was slapping girls' asses and things like that? No. Why wasn't he? Because he was Christ, and we're called to live a Christ-like life. Are you? Because if you're not, then you're just a believer and you're not a follower. Read the Bible. It talks about discipline. It specifically says in Proverbs, I think it's 12:1, it talks about discipline leads to knowledge. And people who hate criticism are stupid. That's what it literally says in the Bible. People who hate criticism are stupid. So if you're watching this and you're like, this guy's an idiot, guess what? Go read that Bible where it says discipline leads to knowledge and people who hate criticism are stupid. Right? If you are disciplined, you're going to grow and you're going to get knowledge on all things of life. Then that's going to transfer to your marriage. Let's go get it, baby. That's how we do it. If you want to grow, don't go to a therapist or counselor and have them rehash your problems. Go to something that's going to give you possibility and hope and look into the future. That's why we get the results that we get. We get because we just come in with God's promises and utilize them with discipline and creating you who you need to become. I don't want to talk about your problems. Sure, there's things about cleaning those up a little bit, but I just want to talk about the past. I want to look forward to the future. That's how we changed. Guess what? One story. I was thinking about this yesterday. I raced BMX most of my life, but seriously, from about time till I was 28 till I was about 36, I got pounded into the ground. I would make main events every now and then, but then I would still never be on the podium, ever. I won one race, and it was by grace of God. And I worked so hard, discipline across the board, but my mindset hadn't changed. I retired for a couple of years and I came back, and these past few years, I've just been so spiritually and mentally killing it in all areas of life that I've been dominating the sport. I'm literally the number one top rider in the US for my age group. But guess what? I don't train physically like that anymore. I still do bodybuilding and things like that, and that does transfer a little bit, but not for explosive sprinting sport like BMX. But guess what? I got to that spot and I'm a champion. I can literally look down at my number plate right now and it has a number 1 on it. But because I got pounded for 12-ish years, does that mean I'm a loser? No, I'm a winner because that's what I am right now. So I know in this moment I'm a winner. So I look forward to the future as being a winner as well, but I'm going to have to go keep proving that. But I don't look back and go, well, I got more years of being a loser than I am a winner, so I'm still a loser. So many people think because they're past hard trauma in their life that they're still a loser because they all did that, even if they're maybe winning today. No, if you're winning today, you're a winner. And if you're not winning today, win today and tomorrow and the next day, and you just erased all that past. And just keep winning, and that past is gone. Let's be a freaking winner. Your wife wants to be with the winner, not a freaking loser. And that's hard to hear because I know it. That was me. You think my marriage was thriving when I was a freaking loser? No, it sucked. I hated my life. And I had stacks and stacks of cash in my safe. But I wanted to jump off the roof of the house every day. Why? Because I was a freaking loser. Now I lead myself so well through God's promises that I know what's possible. Let's change your freaking life. Let's go, baby.